But first, I think a lot of our listeners know my struggles with composting and trying to use the new little bin that many of us received. So let me backpedal a bit. The city of San Diego wants us now to collect our food waste in a separate bin.
The green bins.
The green bins. So with that, some of us might have gotten like a smaller version, a little bucket
a little pail
that you can keep.
That sounds cute. I did not get a pail.
It's a cute little pail. You can
That's
keep
just
it on
beyond
your
the pail,
counter. You can keep it on your counter, or as some of the professionals have done, you keep it in your freezer. So it stops your, food waste from getting really nasty and smelling gross. So I started doing that, and I think I was doing a good job. I was, giving our listeners progress reports on my ability to compost. And honestly, it's dead now. I have not been doing it. The compost is dead?
Oh, you haven't been turning it?
No, my practice of it, it's tricky. There's like a weird balance, and I've done a lot of things to make it work. But what happens is the little pail fills up. So then you have to dump it into the big bin. But then once you dump it into the big bin, it starts falling apart. It gets really messy. It smells. So then I have to
composts.
Yeah. So I have to wait. Like if we cut the grass, then I can layer it with grass and stuff. But sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes the guy doesn't cut the grass and I don't have yard clippings. And so right now I have a little bin full of compost in my freezer, and it's been there for 2 weeks. And the rest of my food waste has just gone to my trash can.
Gross.
I want to be clear. I do think that everybody should be composting, but this kind of reminds me of like, how Airbnb, it was this cool alternative to hotels, and then all of a sudden they started giving you all these things you had to do, like walk the dog and scrub the toilet before you leave, and you can't cook food in our microwave.
What Airbnbs do you stay in?
I guess you aren't staying in the right Airbnbs, or maybe you are staying in the right Airbnbs.
They're making you do the cleaning.
Yeah, but that's kind of this analog for just throwing your garbage out, and now you have to do this extra difficult stuff. And I guess it's not difficult, but it's annoying.
I feel like maybe if you get into the science of it or something, you're like, yes, I'm watching this food waste become fertilizer, and now I can use it on my garden. But like all that stuff's just not my jam, and I cannot I may or may not have never used my compost bin so far. That's where I'm at.
I am going to come clean. I have never used my compost bin either. And this week, Mac, for her environment report, she reported on how San Diego isn't actually cracking down on composting bins, and used some pictures from my apartment complexes.
Jacob, the reporter becomes the source.
You became the story.
I did. I know that's anathema to what we like to do here. But,
okay, but you saw something from those bins.
I saw something. So I was coming home one day, and the one thing that I'd noticed is the 4 bins for the 4 units at my complex had sat in front of our complex ever since they were dropped off. And they'd been there for, I don't know, a month or 2, maybe a year. I don't know, not really a year. But slowly those things started to fill up with just garbage from people walking down the street, I'd assume. And so at least 2 of them were just overflowing with just trash, food containers. Yeah. I mean, that's my hypothesis.
It kind of looked like that, though, like food containers, like little bags from nearby stores.
Yeah, I'm looking at the picture. Styrofoam,
a big
plastic
gulp
bags.
Big gulp
At one point, there was just a whole layer of little dog poop bags.
Nice.
Well, that's organic.
No. You're actually not allowed to put dog poop, because that's what I was excited about originally, just having like a bin where I could put dog poop. And they said no dog poop.
Yeah, poop, huh?
But there was something on the bins.
Yeah, okay. So these bins, they were filled with, very inorganic matter. And the ones that were filled with this inorganic matter, this just garbage, got this little green tag on them that was essentially a scolding by environment reporter MacKenzie Elmer. Anyway, so I walk up, see these just garbage heaps of bins, and there were these little green tags on them from the Environmental Services Department, and they had a notification that said, your greenery was not collected for the following reasons. Please fix the problem for the next collection. And 2 problems were circled. One was greenery not acceptable in plastic bags. Greenery must be an automated container. And 2, greenery contaminated. Palm fronds, cactus yucca, banana tree, birds of paradise, tree stumps larger than 4 feet, dirt or rocks, including gravel, sawdust or ashes, shingles or any chemically treated paint or wood, bags, paper, or plastic trash of any kind, including animal waste and or kitty litter, are not acceptable as greenery. And I can't speak for palm fronds or, yucca cactuses, but certainly there was quite a bit of trash. And so these remained uncollected, and to this day are uncollected. It's been, I don't know, a couple weeks now.
Oh, they're still there?
They're still, well, somehow, I don't know how, but they've been magically transported from the front yard into the back area where our other garbage cans are. I did not do that, but somebody apparently did.
Well, when you told MacKenzie, MacKenzie Elmer, our environment reporter, she was like super curious if this was a sign that the city was going to crack down on bad composters like myself. And when she went around and she asked the city, they basically said no, and that was a mistake by that garbage collector that should not have left that tag.
It was like an overzealous
garbage agent.
An overzealous garbage collector who inappropriately tagged and then did not pick up our containers.
I gotta say, I was kind of excited because I was like, oh, the city is doing something. They wanted us to use bins, and now they're following up to make us use bins. And I was like, cool. Yeah. And then, of course, the answer MacKenzie got back was like, no, there's no mission here to crack down on bins whatsoever. We're letting it ride.
Yeah, the city said, you think we're doing something? We're not doing something.
No.
We're doing nothing.
Nothing. We don't do that stuff.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, I agree, right? I think that there probably should be corrective action, or at least, a little lesson to the bad boys.
Some education, right?
Well, they
Some
said
education.
they're focusing on education right now, and that's kind of their
they need to
response.
tell us what yucca plants look like or whatever they are. Jesus.
Yeah. So anyway, long story short, these are still in our backyard. MacKenzie spoke to some folks at the city who said, no, right now we're going to be accepting all this stuff. We're basically just going to bring it to the landfill, and we're going to have people pick through it by hand and sort these things, which sounds much, much worse than just not picking up, the garbage cans. If the choice is between like having some poor soul dig through like dog poop bags
versus instructing the citizens.
Yeah, I would prefer citizens to be instructed. And it is interesting, there is one can that is filled with organic waste, which actually is my can. And not because I filled it.
So you weren't the culprit of the trash.
It wasn't my can, no. And it I must come clean it. It's not because I've used the can. It's because our gardeners actually know what to do, the gardeners that the property manager have hired. And so I think there has been some education, but certainly not to the general public.